glad they got better with it. By like their third album, they were like not that hard into it. But we're not here for that review. We're here for hello, welcome to another episode of the Effin' Movie Podcast. Now on Sundays.
I was just thinking that.
Actually, most of our reviews are actually filmed on Tuesday, but they release on Friday, I think. So
Most of the time.
So it makes sense.
most of the time.
We're still on brand.
Okay, so we're still on our brand. We swear to God we did it for a reason. Anyway,
Yep.
This is Bryce, that's Mason, that's Nathan, I'm Dylan. You know us, you love us. Price is on the corner today. He's getting crispy.
Boy.
Crispy corner, boys. Price, before we talk about what movie we're reviewing, Nathan, what game are we at?
Why was I brought in?
Yeah,
Just keep guessing.
we're watching Saints Row 3. I say watching because I imagine it's going to be mostly cutscenes.
In the beginning, like the first 20 minutes is all cutscenes.
Yeah.
So
The movie that we
Enjoy.
the movie we put on screen is probably copyrighted several times over, and this was easier to put up, and that's why we keep putting video games up. And by now you should be used to it. This is like the 15th review, 16th, 12,
right.
17th, 18th review where we've done at least a video game. But we're probably wondering why I picked this game to model what movie, Price?
Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
You know,
and Idina Menzel.
Yeah,
with barely Adam Sandler.
yeah, just a little of Adam Sandler.
Wait, who's the other person you named?
Idina Menzel.
Who's that?
She's a singer.
She's the wife that he's divorcing.
Oh yeah. Oh,
She's
Kel and I were watching it. She goes, "That's Elsa or whatever."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
what?
she's the singer.
wow.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I didn't actually make that connection.
Yeah.
Huh. Fascinating.
And I was like, man, she's kind of
And-
pretty. And then I looked at her a little bit closer, and she has the most cut, chisel
Her-
face.
her-
That's everything. I was like, that's
Her
kind of
jawline
scary.
is-
I mean, when you sing
yeah.
like that, you imagine all these muscles are just worked. You
Oh,
know?
have to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
But she does no singing in this movie. She is in the opposite of a sing-song move
I was gonna
the
say,
entire
honestly, it's kind of a good thing. Idina Menzel.
Julia
from that.
Fox, right?
Yeah, Julia Fox
and-
is Julia.
time. Oh, I was a fan of her.
Yeah, she's good.
She's very good.
Yeah.
One of the better parts of the movie.
I think of who's
Sometimes. Only sometimes, though.
who's
Who's who?
who's the NBA player? Is it- it's not
Kevin Durant?
Kevin Garnett.
Yeah. Or
Kevin
Kevin Garnett.
Garnett.
Kevin Garnett, yeah.
It's definitely Kevin Garnett.
Oh, that's right, because he was for the Celtics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
yeah. But anyway, we're talking about Uncut Gems. As a Jewish man leading the role, and you think, this movie has to be circumcisions, right? Turns out it's about jewels. Price, tell us about what the movie's about. There's jewels, there's anxiety.
Basically, Adam Sandler plays Howard, who I'm going to refer to him as that the whole time.
We're seeing a spoiler of the ending right now as we
Uh-huh.
speak.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Man.
But anyway, Howard gets his hands on basically a blood diamond from Ethiopia. He is way in over his head with a debt to, you find out, his brother-in-law. I think it's his brother-in-law.
yeah.
Yeah, it's his brother-in-law. And he's in a tremendous debt to him, but he's also got his hands in he's gambling with some money that he gets in. He's trying to keep these bookies at bay. He's got hired muscle coming after him all the time. And at the same time he's juggling all this, he's got his personal life to deal with, where he has been cheating on his wife
Has
with
a mistress with
Mhm.
her own apartment. That he
yeah, which
manages.
the wife knows about the mistress.
Right.
And so he's got his personal life going on. He's got his professional life with all his booking stuff going on. And it's just all this stuff coming to a head all the time, repeatedly, over and over. And you're just following this guy going throughout his life trying to just stay above water, barely. He is doggy paddling with only his mouth above the water trying to stay alive. And that's basically the movie. And he's a jeweler.
And he deserves every terrible thing.
Yeah.
Every single
Yeah.
This is
thing that happens.
this is a movie
What
that
an
it's just
awful,
Yeah.
awful human being.
I think that sums up a lot of the feelings of my. Let's just get into the feelings.
That's the
for a
summary.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And Nathan could not describe, my feelings more appropriately. This is a movie about a terrible guy who gets exactly what he gets coming to him at all times in this movie.
Mhm.
Sometimes not even quick enough. Honestly, this movie should have been the first scene and then the last scene.
So the thing is, though, he does get the shit beat out of him a
Yeah.
couple
A lot.
And
A
he
lot.
does get shamed, and he does
Like-
everyone around him knows how
I love when the Russian
abrasive
guy
he
got
is.
tired of him in public that one time. And was God,
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
karate chopped his
Chop him in the
throat.
throat.
Right.
He
And
does.
he kept following him.
Yeah.
Does this guy just want to get his ass beat?
Yeah. He does.
I think
does.
With all of this being said, Adam Sandler does play a very good, just awful human
Just
being.
a good
Yeah.
scumbag.
Yes.
He does.
And the fact that we're sitting here talking about it does help, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, credit where credit's due. I don't think that this movie is... I mean, a lot of it does hinge on his performance, and I think he does a good job of sitting here and putting you in that position. But I think definitely the secret player in this movie really is the cinematography for me. If we're talking about ways that the movie keeps you feeling tense and anxious, sure, like all of that's going on. And I remember thinking because we had to, I had seen it before whenever we were doing our Oscar run for 2019.
Yeah.
But
I didn't think it got nominated for it.
it got nominated for
No.
what? I thought it did.
Sure didn't.
Are we
He
sure?
was pissed because.
Yeah,
of it,
'cause
too.
No, that's right. He made
Because
such a fuss that it didn't get
He
nominated.
said if he
and
didn't
that's
get
it.
a
Makes me
nomination.
This
not
is
like
why-
the movie just a little bit. Because
No,
of that.
I won't lie. Like, if you're making an Oscar bait movie and you don't get nominated, like, sorry, sucks to suck. 2019 had amazing
It
films.
did.
That
Yes,
year,
it
like,
did.
Yeah,
Like,
2019 was loaded.
maybe
I
you should
do
have tried
think-
making it that year.
I would like to see who won Best Actor for that year because I would be hard pressed to find just a performance better than Adam Sandler's in this one.
2019.
Yeah, because I think that's JoJo's year, right?
No.
No. Well, yeah, it's the same year as
was.
Jojo
That's
Rabbit,
definitely
Parasite,
Yeah.
and all
anywhere
that,
near.
right? But I don't remember who won the performance.
Best Actor, I don't know, but I mean, he did say like if he didn't get nominated, he was gonna go back to making his shitty like comedy
Yeah.
movies. He didn't win. He stayed true to his word.
Yeah.
No, he's still making those
Rami
straight to
Malek
Netflix
from
movies.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's
won.
right. Malik for Bohemian.
They always love those characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
Studies.
that's the Oscar. So here's my thing.
Buy
All
up.
right, so yeah, I agree with you. I remember thinking like this was in the Oscar discussions, and I remember now it's only because he kept forcing the discussion.
Honestly,
Yes,
yeah,
it did.
and the more that he said it, I was like, man,
just
chill.
bro.
I don't think
just
it is that good.
maybe you just be happy with the
Well,
movie
just
that
be
you make,
humble.
or
you think
you
of
know,
Adam
like,
Sandler and you think he's been in the biz since the early '90s. Like,
right?
come on,
And
dude.
I'm like, bro, you had a crazy run in the early
Yeah.
'90s. Like, be happy with that. Like,
Billy Madison.
the fact that you're still
Preach.
staying relevant nowadays
10
and
out
still
of 10.
putting out like. So right, back to my way earlier point is the cinematography in this one, right? So, anyways, as I was rewatching this one, I was sitting here thinking, and I'm like, what really brings on that that anxious anxiety feeling moment that they want to have throughout the entire movie, which is exhausting. But they want you to feel exhausted. I get it. It's intense. So I'll let them have it. But so my big thing is sitting here and I'm listening, and it's like, sure, Adam Sandler's performance is pretty solid. He definitely plays like this douchebag like that just sits there, and you're just like, God, this guy should already be killed already by like 100 different people already. If I'm being honest, which is the one part that suspends my reality of this at times, because I'm like, if he's this deep already, he's been this deep
I mean,
for a very long
Dude
time.
has straight up taken and sold so many things that weren't his
Yes.
to like
All
leverage money
of
to
the time.
bet.
Yeah.
I love the part where like just an aside, like he had that Michael Jackson like necklace or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're like, I wonder how he got that. Oh well, he's pawning that, whatever. And then just in passing, he sees that guy at the nightclub. He's like, hey, when am I going to get that necklace back?
He's
You're
like,
like,
"What's in my
you
safe?"
did that to him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, every single
It's so
God.
to me, like so much of this is just like him winding up just a big chaotic mess that he's hoping at some point he's going to hit right and be able to unwind everything and get it
But
all
even when he
back
can
and straighten
unwind it,
all
he
out.
does it. When he gets the money from KG,
He
that's
just
the point where he
immediately
can
goes.
unwind everything and keep going. But he's like, I can keep going, but we'll get to that later. That's the end of the
But
movie.
that's just
which
there's
there's
a lot to
that is an addict's biggest thing.
Right.
A gambling addicts especially, where you're just like, you're not just looking for the next fix. You're not just looking for this. You're wanting
You
to
want a
hit
bigger
it
one.
big. It's just
Right.
like a heist movie where, like, there's one more job. This will set us for life.
Mhm.
It's just gonna be this.
It's always
last job.
one more thing, but you don't realize the emotional taxes you're taking on people
Well,
along the way. It's more than just the
yeah.
money. Now you're upsetting people, and that
Yeah.
compounds over time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with the cinematography, looking back on this one, though, I swear I'm gonna finish this point. Is that
Eventually.
like, right? Is that I was looking at a performance and I was like, okay, performance is good, and the stuff that's going on is tense. But I'm like, why am I staying tense in this movie? And the performance again just stays fine. But then I noticed this time around, I'm like, it's not the score. Like, it's not like the music. It's not that one because
I have a lot to say on that.
they tend to have just very like fluctuating score and just like I think there's soundtrack music on this one. I pay attention a little bit back and
Again,
forth.
I'll talk about that.
But then I noticed cinematography on it. It felt very close, very intimate, very tense on that one, and it stayed like it had a sense where if I'm thinking it in my head, it has a sense like it's like shaking, but it never has a shake to it that makes you feel like it's like nauseating or anything like that.
It's not the raid. It's
No,
it's
yeah,
not
definitely
the
not. Like, and I think there's a
Not
lot
like
of a lot of credit where credit's due in that is because I think that a lot of what kept me in that moment and kept you very present and exactly right on Adam Sandler is how it's shot throughout the whole thing. So, the secret winner in this whole movie is the cinematography by far.
I'll tell you what's not the secret winner, and it's like the biggest reason I can't give this movie a higher score than I want to is the score. I cannot stand that like synth kind of thing. Like especially if it doesn't. Well, it just like the synth doesn't fit here. Like this is an A24 movie, and like oh, it's the same score that they use on every A24 movie or something. It's just like this synth that doesn't make sense in this scenario. I don't know why. Like, if it was in Stranger Things, like in an 80s kind of period piece, that makes sense. But this is like present, like, I think it's 2012.
Yeah, they have iPhones.
It's 2012. And I was like, why is that the choice here? Like, that just took me out of it a lot because they used that the entire movie. And speaking of shots, another thing I really didn't like was the zoom in, like at the beginning, where like it's zooming in through the whatever, and it goes on for so long. And you're just like, why am I watching this
with the bullet?
No, that too.
Yeah,
they
that
do
was
it.
a lot.
They do it twice.
Yeah, that is.
Like they look inside the gym.
I will say, I
stuff.
thought the first time had an interesting moment in where it's like it's zooming in through the opal, and then it's like it's kind of shifting back and forth a little bit between like, are we looking at a gym here? Are we looking at the inside of a human? And then ultimately, I mean, it does become the inside of like a person.
A colonoscopy,
yeah. That I thought was a pretty neat little trick that they did.
Yeah. I mean,
I thought it went on too long.
Just threw him like Thomas Jane and Punisher through that
Yeah,
wall.
honestly.
Never had a fight. Oh, there we go.
Triggers are lightning damage, but
I think besides, we were talking off camera too, as far as like Adam Sandler's character and how like you just wanted to punch him in the face the entire time.
He gets punched a lot.
He does.
Yeah.
He
He
should.
gets beaten. Every character though is like this in this movie. The wife,
I mean, really,
is very, I think, very annoying, but like she plays it so well.
You think she's annoying?
I do, but like the girlfriend is also just this like naive, like this obviously isn't gonna last. Like why is she here?
Like,
The brother-in-law
I don't think
is
she's naive. I think she doesn't. She's just there for the lifestyle.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
She's
that's
more of a
true.
gold digger than
Yeah,
he is.
yeah.
exactly.
I mean, very
Absolutely.
much is. Like,
Yeah.
But
And-
that makes nobody particularly redeemable in this whole movie.
No.
No.
Every character was just not that good. The brother-in-law sucked. You know, it kind of turns on him, but he kind of doesn't at the end. Like, he's just... You never know how you feel with him, but it's only because all of these actors and actresses play such a good part, and it's just... I don't know.
The performances are good, but the fact that there's not really in my opinion, a redeemable character in this movie is one of my big actually drawbacks with it. It does make that, although that tense experience and stuff is there, like I think they set out on a mission to sit there and create this, and I think they did that tone really well. But, and something I'll talk about later, is I read up on that one as far as saying like not only is it from obviously a gambling addiction standpoint, but they wanted to feel very like a manic episode throughout the entire time with it. And in actions it does, but in other ways it doesn't. And I'm not going to bring super deep into like that category, but it was very stereotyped. Like, it was more about the gambling stuff, and I feel like that's where they get off a little bit on their intention with that. And that does bother me, because, again, it's in my field, so I'm going to make the complaint. If you're going to go psychology, and you're going to sit there and say, we wanted to feel like a manic episode, so they had it all be anxiety. And I'm like, well, that's not all what a manic episode is. The actions were. I think shot for shot, him gambling, him moving in, boom, 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 that part it crushed. But
when did it ever say it was like...
It doesn't
supposed
say
to be
this
like
was
a manic episode?
like review parts episode. Like I was looking at like director commentaries and stuff like that.
Oh.
But
I'll say I never got that impression.
yeah, it was like off the wall trivia on that one. But
the characters I want to go back on, because I didn't feel like they were like irredeemable. Like, you are making it sound like they're all bad people, but like,
well,
they're like
less so
regular
just
people.
not likable, but they're more unlikable for like, again, they're all these kind of like high class snobs, and even like the people who they could have made very, human and relatable. Like the wife, I guess, probably had the best shot in the whole movie, probably.
But I didn't feel like she's very frustrated at this point in her life. Like,
right.
She's over it, and like Howie just keeps doing this shit all the time, and it's just like pushing her, like pushing her buttons and stuff, until she literally laughs in his face and is like, "You're disgusting to me. Like, go away."
You're missing my point. I'm not saying that it's not human or that it's not valid. I mean, I get where she's coming from. If I'm this person's like wife, I'm probably in her mood too.
Yeah, exactly.
But they never show a contrast for me to sit there and be like, okay, I care that she's upset.
But she's just a person. Like, you don't have to have Tom Hanks and have like a lovable role in there. It's just, these are real people going through real situations, and you're not gonna attach yourself to somebody just because they're on screen. So I'm not understanding.
No, I know you're not. But that's so. Here's the preference taste, Price. You can have 100% of this movie be the way that it is, other than like maybe your small gripes with like score and stuff like that, and be okay with that. But I think for me, it's one of those ones where I want the word I use all the time, juxtaposition with this. I want it to have a little bit of like edge here and here. This for me, whenever I'm watching this, it's like everybody kind of sucks across the board. Everybody's schemy. Everybody's this. Even the wife, who's probably the least schemy, least crummy person.
She
is just angry and pissed off.
You could say she kind of sucks in the sense that, like, she should have just left.
Yeah.
But she, as much as his mistress, is still very keen on the idea of having his money and being supported by his lifestyle, which I'm sure she is, and I'm sure that is the reason she hadn't already left.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, it just comes down to just being, like, arguably the, like, character I should be liking the most on screen is the one that is just, like, an angry rich housewife who I'm like, I kind of don't give a shit about. Like,
I don't think you're supposed to even.
And you're
like
not.
her.
You're not supposed to, right? But I'm saying, like, out of this whole movie, that's the only character that's gonna have a chance to not be generic gangster caught up in this bullshit. Like,
we don't know that she's a housewife.
Oh, I'm not saying that she. Well, okay, and I'm not saying that she is. I'm just saying as like a broad example. Like, I don't know what she does, and I don't do that. They didn't give me more time with her to sit there.
Oh, not at all.
Right. So
she was basically there to show how, like, his personal life, like I said, there's, like, kind of two halves. And
right.
And that she's part to show the half of his relationships, how he can't handle any of those.
If anything,
either.
I feel like it's almost unnecessary to have him be married in this case, other than just to explain, like, he's very clearly in that stereotype.
He's got something to lose, I guess.
I mean, I guess, really. But it feels like Julia Fox's character is as much that as anything else to him.
True.
And really, you present her very early on in a way that you should. Credit where credit's due. If you're going to present it to be a mistress and do all that, props. But
they did.
Yeah, if you're going to have anything to lose, it's just, okay, run on that. I feel like adding the family element and making it a little extra shitty, it gave us nothing that we didn't already know about this character, which is that he sucks and he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, but, I mean, it does just add that little bit more, and I think it, in a way, like, do you think this is a real character? Like, this is a pretty believable person?
I cannot imagine.
Oh, I know that he's a real.
Somebody like
yeah,
this?
No, I 100%
think so.
I think they do, but I think they're dead
like
by
50
now.
or 60
Nah.
of those people.
Like,
live
who's getting
in New
under
York.
bookies and
No,
can't get
yeah.
on top.
So
Yeah.
people getting under bookies, yes, but I
Yeah.
have a feeling that, like, they all have broken bones. They all have, like, actual repercussions. Where this guy got throat chopped once, he kind of got beat the fuck out of in his face a little bit. Like, this guy was living like there was no consequence to anything he would ever do.
Right.
And honestly, Arno was his brother-in-law. I think.
Yeah.
Arno and his little guys
The
up until
Russian
the
and the
end.
big guy.
Up until the end, didn't give him like anything that he feared. He obviously wasn't mad about getting beat up. Like they didn't.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like they went as far as they could. Like they kept pushing it, and were like, we're gonna like keep increasing what we're doing to you, and they did.
And they did
over time. They kept like, give us our money, give us our money, and then he finally had the chance
like
to. And Arno knew that like he had the money and came by to collect it. And that's when KG gives him the money, and you're like, just give it to him, man. Just go outside and give it to him.
Yep.
And then he has that awesome speech where he's like, they're trying to put us down. Like, you understand where I'm coming from? Like, these people don't know anything. The critics don't know anything.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, but you're like me. Like, this is your basketball. I do this. And then he does.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you are talking yourself into a horrible situation.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah, that was actually a really cool little, like, one-on-one sort of...
Speaking of, I'm telling you the best surprise act in this movie was KG.
KG
was
really sold, like...
Yeah,
I could not believe him. Like, if you watch, like, Michael Jordan in Space Jam or something
like
that.
Here's the thing.
All right.
Yeah,
Like, credit
these are actors.
I knew you were going to bring up either LeBron or Michael Jordan.
Right, but I'm like, they have to do real acting. KG has to do KG.
Kevin Garnett was Kevin Garnett,
right.
Whereas LeBron James and Michael Jordan were...
But they're in fantastical
But
settings.
even if you are playing yourself, even in Space Jam, like where Charles Barkley and all them people play themselves,
they have to be
it's such wooden performances.
Because it's
that, like, it doesn't...
Right.
They can still be themselves. You can be yourself without saying, like, all the curse words in the book and showing off your dong on camera. Like, it doesn't take that much. But
Did
like,
I miss a part in Space Jam?
once you turn that camera on, that's when it gets... that's when you have to actually act.
Kevin Garnett was a very positive piece in this whole thing.
I know.
For a part that could have been an anchor, he definitely felt like he did fine to carry the movie with himself.
I really liked how he kept telling him the whole time, like, don't lean on it, KG.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. Yeah. And then I read on the trivia facts or whatever that the directors had rigged that one to fall apart and didn't tell anybody.
Nice.
I don't know if KG knew. I think he did, but I'm not sure. And that was everybody's real reactions was when that happened. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah, there's this being an A24 too. Like I know you talked about it earlier just a little bit, but like A24 has this thing about it, right? You have all these like sort of weird. I'm trying to think of some other examples. I want to say Midsummer was
of what
Midsummer movie.
Yeah. I mean, it is A24, but I don't know what comparison.
Well, no, I just meant like A24. Neon Demon, I think. That might have been a Neon film.
Hereditary was A24.
Yeah, just all of these like
this is the third
grainy sort of like.
Maybe we should pay A24 category.
Yeah, honestly.
I like mine better.
Okay.
I can't think of most of them, but
they do feel like an A24.
Yeah, they have a very grounded human drama too, which I don't dislike.
I don't either. I really like that.
Well, Hereditary gets a little bit on the tail end.
A little wacky.
But I was gonna say the problem with Hereditary, it was very, very human-like until the very end.
I was about to say, honestly,
it was almost too human-like.
It's a human drama, right? It suspends the supernatural part until the last 20 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So.
It's one I was actually just thinking the other day. I'd like to go back and rewatch to kind of see the subtlety of it, because it's an example of being too subtle.
Yeah.
It is, and it doesn't hit the gas pedal nearly quick. It does
only right.
It's almost like if you're actually in your car and you hit the gas. Guess what? Nothing's really gonna happen.
God, it did have a really long middle, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah, that sandwich had a lot of layers of bologna.
But that part, like, that's one of my like favorite like sections of movie though, is where they get in the car after the party and then like until the mom finds her.
Yeah,
like that's one of my favorite. That is so good.
But that's not the movie we're talking about. We're talking about wait, who hung Dong?
A24.
Which hold on. Which NBA person hung Dong?
You missed my point. Like I was saying.
No. That's the point I'm looking for. Who hung Dong in there?
What movie?
We're looking for a different
point.
Yeah,
I was using hyperbole. That's not my point.
Ooh.
Oof.
We gotta talk about Dave after this too.
Ooh, I've watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of
Good.
this season. Yeah.
They get better.
Yeah, it does. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is in it.
Trying to think of anything else.
He is.
He is on the 4th one.
Oh, there you
go. Any other points? Anything
about Uncut Gems?
Yeah.
I mean, I really did like how they sold you on just how much of an asshole that this guy was. Like all of how he's like even mannerisms and stuff, like the way he smiled, like he just was all teeth.
Yeah.
And he just looked grody all the time. And when they went to the Celtics practice facility or whatever, he just was making an ass in front of himself. And Damani, the guy who was like bringing KG in and stuff, was just like over him completely.
Yeah.
Well,
he
and that's
was awful to everybody.
That's another.
Everybody, even his workers. Like
the reason why he was able to get away with all of his shenanigans and all of his just bullshit and how much you hated him is because all of these people have to deal with him every single day exactly how he is. There's a reason why Arno.
I love AI.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why Arno wasn't like taking his bets away earlier, because he just knows him. Knows how he is.
And he is family at the end of the day.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, you notice like Arno did have a quote unquote connection with Howie at the end of the movie, which I guess we'll talk about in a minute. But
yeah,
I mean, Howie did get away with a lot until he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. He did. That's exactly the way I would put it. He got away with everything until he didn't get away with it.
Because it seemed like he knew kind of like when to push buttons on people, like when he could push buttons rather. Like he knew when he could. I almost knew like how far he could like get away with it until I guess we can talk about the end of the movie if you all want to, where he finally pushed the wrong person too far, who had hated him the entire movie until the guy was literally put in a box and had to get something done, which I'd like to talk about at the end because I think.
Before you say it, I'm going to say my last little point. A parlay bet like that almost does not exist.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that.
Like, you can find them something like that, but my God, just one thing after the other. Wasn't it like 6 or a 7 or an 8-way parlay where like...
I have no idea.
Like
starting with like
basically had to go exactly the way he said
like
it
the
was
tip of the ball was one of
Yeah.
those very first ones. Like, no one bets that kind of money on basically 6 chances.
To the point.
Yeah.
Like, you bet it on like the over/under, sure. You bet it on the team that wins,
Well,
sure.
and the question there too is like, is there a place that would even take your bet?
Vegas, they'll take stuff like that, but normally they won't have that much just bullshit stacked up on top of each other. Well, it's not that they won't, but it's because like no human being, gambler addict or not, will put, how much money was it that he put on the phone?
It was $165,000.
$165,000. Imagine this: you have $165,000, and the very first bet of a 6-way parlay is who's going to get the tip ball right off the bat. That's the first of 6 steps.
Right.
Otherwise, your 165 is gone. Anyways, that's my only other little issue with it. But it
wasn't.
wasn't.
He completely lost it if they didn't even get the tip.
That's what I'm saying. It's a 6-way parlay, which meant as soon as that happened,
oh my
then the
god,
next
5 more things have to happen.
Have to hit the checklist before they ever
Yeah,
cross it.
that's pretty much what a parlay is. But I'm not. It's just crazy.
Somebody's like, I'm not watching that close. Like,
Dude, you just don't want to watch the game at that point.
right? You're like, I don't want to take notes. I'm trying to watch fucking basketball.
Yeah.
Did y'all like the airplane guy that Julia Fox, whatever her name was, met? That leathery guy.
Yeah.
That she went up to his suite or whatever.
Sorry, I was
So
talking about the weekend
are we
still.
going to talk about the way this ends like The Departed now?
Oh yeah.
No joke.
And then not everybody starts blasting.
Just the one that you don't care about.
Yeah, just the one that should have already been shot already got shot.
And I do really like that you see the payoff when Nathan you said that he wanted to hit that one payday and backtrack everything that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Because after he hits and wins it, the music comes on and he has that huge smile on his face, calls Julia Fox and is like, "Oh, we did it," or whatever. And he completely forgets about the situation that he's in.
Yeah.
He's just like, "I fixed everything." Because I do actually believe that after he did this one, I think he was done. I think he was going to pay off. I don't think he was done, but I think he was going to pay off his debts. And that's why in his mind he thought, I'm actually going to pay my debts now. Everything's good. They're going to understand. They've been in this box for forever. They're totally going to get it. And that's why when he goes over to it, he has this big smile on his face. Because he's like, I can finally pay you back. And Arno was like, oh.
Finally.
Finally. You did it. Good job, man. And he's very okay with it for some reason when he shouldn't be. And then just the lead up to that moment where it kept showing the Russian guy's face. He just had this cold.
That guy Russian?
Something like that. He seemed Russian to me. I don't know.
Everybody who's mad is Russian.
Sort of,
Price belt.
But he just had this cold, accepted look on his face. That's like I'm not gonna get mad. I'm not gonna raise my voice. I'm just gonna kill this guy as soon as I can.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm just
anything.
disappointed.
And then when he finally opened the door, he didn't say any words to him. He just shot him right in the head.
Which, all right, movies that end unexpectedly like that. You love them or you hate them. It's whatever. This movie, I do think, it deserved that. If Howie had gotten away,
yeah, he should not have gotten away.
Yeah, if he had gotten away, this movie was a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, not even the girlfriend should get away. I hope things don't work out for her
either. In her Mexico or wherever she was going to go.
I was about to say, it's a matter of time.
And I was fully expecting too. If this story continued and he didn't die, she was taking that money and he wasn't going to have that money.
No,
she was probably,
If this movie goes on for another 30 minutes,
this cannot work out well for such an awful, awful human.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm glad he got it because it wouldn't have made sense. He was stacking those Jenga pieces way too high.
Oh, yeah.
And just it should not have worked out for him. Yeah, exactly. So it shouldn't have worked out for him, and it didn't.
But yeah, I think that finally you get a movie like this. Well, it's not to say that again A24 or whoever directed this isn't used to that kind of an ending, but I am glad that it finished because, gosh, at this point, you just feel sleazy. You just feel this visceral grime on you.
Feel oily.
From watching this. It was Boston.
Yeah.
This guy from Boston just be so bad to everyone around him.
I'm actually convinced Boston is terrible based on Hollywood's
Was it in
interpretation.
Boston? 'Cause I feel like they had to travel to Boston.
That's where The Departed is.
It's in. I thought it was in New York City.
I thought it was in Brooklyn, to be honest.
Wherever they went, it was 2 hours away. That's the only thing I really.
Right.
That's about right.
To Philly.
Yeah,
it's in New York.
Yeah, he's in New York.
It's in New York.
It's in New York. Yeah.
But yeah, just glad he had it coming to him. That was a really good ending.
I know.
And like you said, it lets you feel that tension of obviously these caged animals in a box.
They were sweating and just looked awful.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, so do you have a question, Bryce?
But first, I just want to say how much going into this movie, I just remembered how anxious I got. If you remember when KG was in the box or whatever.
Oh, dude, he didn't like that.
And they were trying to buzz him out, and there's we also didn't really talk about how the dialogue seemed to be written for people to just talk over each other. Mm-hmm. I couldn't imagine being a non-English speaker watching this movie because
and if you were to watch it with subtitles, I bet they were stacked all along.
I did watch them with subs, and they were so. I couldn't imagine trying to keep up with it as
it's like you were just watching a non-stop argument.
Yeah.
All the time.
He
Felt like that.
His life was never a break, really.
Right. Like, credit where credit's due, this isn't a movie that isn't necessarily heavy on dialogue. It's more about the emotion behind it. Like, if you told me to recall even 2 sentences from this movie, probably can't.
I won't.
And I just rewatched it. But if you told me to sit there and say, what was the feeling and things behind that, I was like, okay, here's what he's trying to, here's his intent, here's this. But I don't think this necessarily makes it a bad movie for it. I like the dialogue served a purpose, and the purpose was met as far as that goes. So.
Yeah.
But, question.
Well, I was gonna get the question. I was gonna get the stuff pulled up.
He doesn't have shit ready.
We're unprepared.
This is his movie. I can't believe that.
This is his Nicolas Cage movie.
Can we shoot?
Let's do it.
Well, because I was gonna read the Best Actor nominations for 2019, and
I'll give it to Rami still.
I'd still probably give it.
Probably.
Not because like that movie's just so stellar, but it's the teeth, man.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Let's see. I think Christian Bale in Vice,
I didn't watch
Bradley Cooper
I want to
in
watch
A Star Is Born, William Dafoe in At Eternity's Gate,
Oh, I was giving Willem Dafoe.
Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody, and your favorite Viggo Mortensen in Green Book.
that. What the fuck?
I didn't watch Green Book, but he
I
hangs
didn't
tall.
either.
In
I'm
other
still
movies.
gonna give it to
I
Bohemian
didn't watch a
Rhapsody.
single one of those films.
You know what? It's funny that I missed all of those films on the Oscar run.
No, I was just saying, like, do you think
I
that
heard Green Book is trash,
Adam
so.
Sandler's performance was good enough to merit being a nomination? Maybe not even a
He
winner,
dug his
but
own
like,
grave.
I don't think that had anything to do with it.
Yeah, you're right. It was
Yeah,
after the
you're
fact.
talking outside of...
Outside of the... Yeah, I think more of his banter about, like, I better, and then when he didn't, he's like, fuck you, is
Yeah,
exactly
he
why the
did
Oscars
pretty
are like, yeah, that's why we wouldn't let you have a stage. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so... You know, ironically, Adam Sandler got exactly what he deserved on this one.
Well, and plus, you could also look at it as like a PR move because, like, Adam Sandler, you never hear of anything bad happening with Adam Sandler. He's pretty quiet as a church mouse.
Yeah.
When
Quiet
a
as
movie
a
like
church
this comes out, that, let's be real, none of us would have ever heard anything about this movie. It comes out, it doesn't get nominated. He kind of blows up a little bit about it.
No,
And guess what? Everyone fucking watches.
Yeah, he
this
did.
movie.
He did all of the PR from his Twitter, like 100%.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And
And credits too.
I think it
watched
worked.
it.
I watched
so.
it.
Yeah.
I watched
I've
it.
had to watch it twice.
Yeah.
More than another.
Did you all feel the runtime on it? Because it is like 2
Yes.
hours.
Yeah, I felt the runtime on this one.
I think that the only runtime that I really felt was just all of the meetups that he had. Like, whenever he got done with this meeting, he was on the phone talking to someone until he got to the next meeting. And then until, as soon as he got finished with that person, someone else was calling him. And it was just this long thing.
Yeah,
You
like,
cut a couple of those out, and I don't know if it really helps.
that's just 2 of the same people in the car. But it's a love-hate relationship because it's, like, really, if I wrote 2 lines, you would sit here and say that was almost every scene in this movie. And it was, Adam Sandler character gets into a bind and finds a way to extend his time to get out of it.
Yeah, just stalls.
And then that's every scene over and over. And I think that's where I started to feel the runtime, where I'm like, this is the same scene, but with different people. And he's just using a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the same scene where this is different people. He's just using a different thing to sit there and get out of this situation and extend his time. Like,
Yeah, but there's also those scenes where he's not just making those deals. That there's like he's trying to make money.
you know what this movie is?
to get out of it.
It's Constantine.
Shut up.
What?
You don't want to
It's
say that.
not.
Same movie.
You don't want to say that.
It is not.
Constantine's on the clock with the cancer, knowing that he's gonna
Just
die.
because there's a
And
countdown.
all of the good deeds all comes. No, it's the same thing. So
It
It's
is
not
not.
a good deed done by...
Constantine.
by
Not
Adam
one good deed is
Sandler.
done by him. Constantine is getting good deeds with all of the wrong intention. He's doing it selfishly, but yeah, I mean, really, it's the same
I
movie.
don't feel
Do you
this
remember what we
comparison
scored?
at all.
Arguably, Constantine is a more likable character
Oh,
than
man.
Howard.
Oh, I
Oh,
agree.
yeah.
He's definitely a likable,
Yeah.
more likable
Yeah.
character, but he's not as a nuanced.
And Keanu Reeves didn't get nominated for that
he's
shit.
not
so.
he's not a nuanced and developed character like Howard is.
Howard, I wouldn't say is nuanced and developed. It's just very human.
I think he is. I think he's very developed. I mean, the whole thing follows him, and you see every aspect of
So
what he goes
developed,
through.
but developed says that he gets from point A to point B in character growth. I don't think his character ever grew. There's the argument he said, possibly, that at the end, it's a moment of growth because maybe he goes to pay off his
See, I see character development as like you get to know that character and it develops more in front of your eyes. Like you don't know who this guy is, and then at the end of the movie, you're like, oh yeah, he's just been a piece of living garbage the whole movie, making terrible decisions. ruining other people's lives and ruining his own in the process.
See, but that's,
and you get to know,
right.
like, your relationship to that character is developed.
I do think you also get, like, that manic thing, like you were saying earlier, too, with, like, in development when he breaks up with his mistress.
Oh, that's a good point.
And tries to get back with his original wife as if that were a thing
that was so
to be
cringy.
Remotely entertained.
I love that scene where she just
like
started
that,
laughing at him. He's like,
the
"Come
scene
on, let's
that
give
you
him
love,
one shot."
like everyone else is just like, ugh.
Yeah, because it just makes you cringe so hard. Like, why does he think he has any chance?
Because he doesn't have any idea of anything.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
Like, she knows that, but he doesn't know that.
Now you're really going to need a mechanic.
But anyway, so all obvious Constantine references and comparisons aside, because it's definitely one for one.
You know what I think this movie's similar to, kind of like Constantine, is Your Name.
Shut up. No.
Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch, yeah.
So.
No, I even see Lawnmower Man, like, in the
yeah,
directorial style.
No, go ahead. Make the narrative comparisons between Lawnmower Man and...
They both have actors in it. They both have special effects.
Oh, yeah.
This is why Price is a corner boy. This is why
I'm in the corner now.
Yeah. Let's, did you ask your question? Should he have gotten nominations for it? Like, it's just rough something. No, it shouldn't have been nominated for it. It was 2019. Arguably one of the best movies.
I just read you the best
movies.
I just read you the best actor noms, and you hadn't even watched. Like, no one had even watched all those movies.
I watched like 2 of those movies.
I watched 2.
That was like movies. 6.
Yeah. But I still trust those actors over Adam Sandler.
I mean,
if he said, all right, Viggo Mortensen or Adam Sandler.
Or Rami Malek.
That's what I'm saying. Like, normally I wouldn't think that Adam Sandler would have a shot, which is why you need to watch this movie and be like, holy crap, this guy can actually do something besides slap himself in the balls and be on camera.
Well, see, here's my thing. I know he's
Jack and Jill.
I know he's capable of more because I've seen Punch Drunk Love, which I like more as a more grounded Adam Sandler flick, if I'm being honest. But my other point to this is this. Even if I know that capability and stuff like that, and you say, all right, Adam Sandler and probably...
What the fuck is on your wheels, dude?
Yeah, they're like...
They're spikes.
Oh, it's like the, it's those gladiator spikes from, like, you know the ones
whenever you drive, they pop out.
Yeah, they just, like, mow
Like, can you hit somebody with them?
Hit it.
Oh, that didn't do anything.
I think it pops their tires, actually.
Oh, that's what's up.
That's it.
That's wild. Anyway, moral of the story is...
Pop those cops' tires.
Listen, I may have more sympathy if he wasn't such a clown about all of it. Like, he just was...
I think you're really blown out of proportion.
Fuck y'all! Fuck you, Academy!
Yeah, I don't think he got that... Whoa! I don't think he got that upset, though.
I mean, his Twitter.
It was a thing.
It was enough to sit there keep getting headlines on it. But, anyway. Scores?
Anyway. Yep.
Yeah, let's go scores.
Nathan.
Do we have that button?
No. Do we, Bryce? You're the one who's...
Alright.
Oh, hey, we do have the button.
Yep. I'm just saying we should have it on air, just in case.
Okay.
Sure.
You're right, because I'm going to hit it.
You are not.
Here, let's put it right next to Nathan so we can...
Yep, Nathan, there's the button in case you...
What's your score? No influence.
Alright.
Yeah.
Knowing there's a button that needs to be pressed.
Is this a good movie? Yeah.
Is it a great movie? Is
Do
it a 10
I-
movie?
Do I like any of the characters in this movie at all? No. I think everybody in this movie deserves what they got or worse. So, I guess in a way, knocked it out of the park there.
What about The Weeknd?
What happened to The Weeknd?
Man,
I can't remember. What did they do?
He got yelled at.
mean,
He just got yelled at, right?
I guess
And
to
then
be
he
He spit on Howard.
That's right.
Yeah, and to be fair, I mean, he probably didn't really know this girl to know that she was in a relationship already. So.
Well,
she
she kept saying, no touching. No.
Yeah,
No.
and he kept pushing anyway.
And then he's like, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay,
You know,
Weeknd sucks too. You're right.
Yeah, The Weeknd sucks too.
That guy loves drugs. Good songs.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
just
Good
just
voice.
awful all around.
Weeknd.
Super
I
Bowl.
don't know, man.
All up in his face.
It was a fine movie. It is good in a lot of ways. I think it shows what to me is probably a real person, and probably just some awful little thing that does happen and exists in this world. But this is a little overly long. I think I'm gonna probably land at like I'm teetering between 6.5 and a 7. I think I'm gonna end up ultimately at 6.5 on it though. I mean, there's a lot of good things going for it, but ultimately, I ain't about it.
Yeah, no, and you're exactly right. All I agree where this movie did exactly what it needed to, I think. Like, it showed you this awful human being, and it also made you hate this awful human being. But the problem is you did have to sit through all of this just to see him get what he's got coming, potentially.
Yeah.
So, like, there wasn't very many wrongs in this movie. I don't think that it, lingered for too terribly long, besides just him doing the exact same thing like Dylan said earlier. It was the same formula every single time that he met someone. He got deeper in a rabbit hole every single time. I do like Kevin Garnett though. I thought it was a little bit silly, the whole like superstitious vibe that he went with at the very beginning.
Yeah, that was a little funky.
But athletes, I guess, are somewhat superstitious. I don't think The Rock is gonna do it as much as like maybe a piece of clothing or a bowl of cereal that he's, whatever it is. Don't know
whatever his ritual is.
Ritual, every day. But ultimately, I think I'm going to land at about a 7.5. Again, I'm with Nathan. I don't want to watch this movie for a long time. This movie makes me feel bad. Like, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Mm-hmm. And it's a very high score, I think, for something that I don't want to watch for a long time. But I do think it gains it, and it earned it. I feel like I've set the bar too high, Dylan. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did. What is this guy on the straw? Whoa. That's
the
Russian from...
no.
That's the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm kind of in the same boat as Nathan here. I feel I'm torn between like a 6.5 and a 7, and I'm probably going to lean it.
Uh-oh. The physics are like Fall Guys in this game.
Yeah. I'm going to lean it right to 6.5. I think this movie, it's one of those good movies that it's good, but it also is bad and good in ways that it shouldn't be. Like, structurally, if I'm looking at it from
you
like...
just threw a cop at me.
Yes. All the human element out of it, all of the like story part out of it, like it set out on a mission that I feel like it accomplishes really well. I think that it does a lot of things that it set out to do, but the problem is that when you're making a movie with the intent of it just being scummy, terrible people and all of that, and you do that too while there's a problem, and that it's an unlikable experience to sit there and do it. I think they executed it well, but much like you got executed by the Juggernaut on that one. But it for me, just on rewatch, I'm right there with Mason. It just has that feeling where it's like, oh God, like die already, like die. You should have died. I would kill you. Like it's that moment where it's just like it's so schemy and it's so this, and it's good for doing that and showing that performance and range, but it also just says like 2 hours of terrible people doing terrible things that I don't like, and it's not funny, so it doesn't have that Always Sunny in Philadelphia like kickback to it.
That's exactly what I was just gonna bring up.
I'm like, Always Sunny is terrible with all sorts of terrible people, but it has great humor and does actual like social commentary. This one doesn't have that.
Jesus, nice. You were on top of that grenade.
God bless. I feel like he died a lot easier on that time. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a 6.5. The stuff that isn't redeemable made it really hard to watch, but it's technically a good film by that stretch of means, and I do give you credit where credit deserves there.
I think it
performances, and there's not really bad performances either. So,
see, I keep hearing over and over that the movie did what it needed, like it went out to do. It made these like not good people. Mm-hmm. It made you watch them, and you believe that they're not good people. Then I feel like the movie excels in that.
Its job.
Like it's doing what it needs to do. But again, our scores are discretionary,
and
if you
personal score,
and if you want,
personally,
and if you want a movie to make you hit love, like if it's going to try to make you like Tom Hanks and it makes you like Tom Hanks, and you like it more because of that, c'est la vie. But my favorite show is Breaking Bad. Second, It's Always Sunny. Breaking Bad is about an anti-hero. It's Always Sunny is a group of terrible people doing stuff all the time, and that's almost what this movie kind of is.
That's a pretty good justification. I get it.
But I enjoy that kind of stuff. Jackson, my little brother, says that he can't watch It's Always Sunny because it makes him feel gross. I think I'm just immune to that at this point because I've watched it so many times.
All of your TikToks.
Yeah, that is true.
We know how you feel.
So the grime just washes over me and just feels soothing at this point, I guess. Because I loved Adam Sandler's performance in this. I didn't see him at all, and I've watched a lot of his movies. I didn't see him as Billy Madison, which is my favorite movie. Like, I didn't see him doing that. I saw him acting as a completely different person.
I do too.
They're both like tied.
Yeah, he's talking about Billy Madison.
Love them. Love Billy Madison. But love the whole movie. It is a little bit too long, and unfortunately I can't press that button because I did say like there are things. Oh.
That's recording.
It doesn't have anything. But anyway, I was wanting to give it a 9.5, but then I kept thinking about it more. I was like, I don't feel comfortable. That's a really strong score, and there are still some qualms I have with this movie. It's not like in my top movies, which a 9.5 probably would. But there are some weird directorial choices that I wasn't a fan of, like the score, and some of the scenes did drag a little bit, and that stupid zooming in shot that took forever. That could have been cut out and saved like 10 minutes of the movie. But I do really, really, really like how they just killed him at the end of the movie. Movie's over. It doesn't do this remember me garbage where it's like, let's see.
Here we go.
Remember me. All right.
Let's for 20 minutes let's see how it affects everybody's lives.
Yeah, I
Put
mean
it up to the point.
I agree with that. I don't care what happens to
I don't
these
either.
people. I would
Yeah.
rather just
Did I get
imagine
this
my
in
own
this
ending,
week?
which
That'd
is
be
that
hilarious.
everybody just got what came to them.
I like
Everybody got it off.
But
But I'm going to go with a 9. A very solid 9. It is one of my top movies. I really do like it. Go watch it. I'm sure you have already. And if you're watching this, you're probably one of us, so you've definitely seen it already. So let's go ahead and spin that wheel
Spin
because
that wheel.
they're the
All right.
lights blinking.
So it is between Mason and Nathan for this pick.
If it's a category.
If it's a category.
If it's a category, if it's a movie,
Shit,
it's
I
just a
can look
movie.
at
I bet it's one of mine. I hope it's mine and you have to
Love
pick
this movie. I'll defer.
Yeah. What is it?
Dystopia.
Dystopia.
Oh, that's a Nathan.
But because
Yeah,
that's
that
different
is a
category.
Well,
Nathan.
it's me, so
Well,
then,
it's you or
like
Mason.
it's my category, so then it would
You
be.
could double down.
I would say Mason. would
Yeah,
probably be the
I think
correct-
it-
yeah.
Alright, I
You
don't
have
have
to
a
pick
pick yet.
Ooh, I got you.
Yeah?
You want to? Well, I'll pitch it to you, but it's still got to be your pick.
Alright.
What's the
well,
pitch?
I would pitch Escape from New York.
Not
That's
doing
a
that.
good one.
Not
Snake
doing
Plissken?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Snake Plissken's
Never
good.
heard of
I will look into it and we'll have another episode for you guys next week. I honestly didn't even look at the categories.
Dystopian is the only one you need to know because that's
I know.
what you got.
Yeah.
So.
Muppet movie's the only one you need to know.
Muppet movie.
Muppet movie. So we've got a dystopian movie coming in your near future. We already got the Blade Runners out of the way, so you don't have to do that
Good.
anymore.
Thank God.
Don't worry. We took the
What's that
heartache
next-
for you.
When's that next Matrix coming out?
Sooner than you
December.
think, actually.
Yeah.
Supposed to be. Yeah, it might have got pushed again. But
Probably.
anyways,
I was supposed to say, I don't think you could pick that one that far out, but
you just don't even meet up.
We just 5 months.
We'll finally get caught up.
Oh,
Yeah, I said it.
that's gross. That's our show, everybody. Make sure to go shoot Adam Sandler a tweet and let him know if you think this
we
movie
do not
was.
condone this.
If this movie was up your alley, let us know in the comments below if you thought it was up your alley. If you like this video review, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And while you're already giving a thumbs up, if you like it that much, you might as well just subscribe. I mean, hell, check us out every
Why
single
not?
week. Every single week we put out content according to our uploading thing. Don't necessarily check on when we record it. Not important. But you can always let me know by,
Slapping that bell.
slap that bell.
Slap it.
Slap that bell. Everybody, 1, 2, 3. Slap
Slap
that
that
bell. Anyway, guys, that's our show. That's Uncut Gems. Not about circumcision. Make sure to tune in next week for
Darn it.
a dystopian movie of some sort. You'll find out when we find out, I guess.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You know what? Not a circumcision movie. It's a 6 for me.
You're right. That's fair.
Mark that down.
Nine's
Mark that
pretty
down.
healthy.
I really like this movie.
You know
a
what?
lot.
I take.